Okay, lesson 35, we have a new pranayama. It's called Ujjayi. And is described in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, chapter 2, Sutra 51. Now, Ujjayi is described. Closing the mouth, drawing energy slowly through both nostrils, till it is felt to be sonorous from the throat to the heart. The word closing the mouth, in the Sanskrit text, actually the word control is used. So control the mouth. This is not about your physical mouth. This is about the it's a concentration, a mind control exercise, where the mouth is the celestial mouth through which Shiva energy flows in. Also interesting and different from the previous pranayamas that we learned. Nirbija Samadhi. What was it again? Surya Bedana and I forgot the first one. Yeah, I guess the cold has affected my brain as well. Nadi Shodhana, of course, the purification pranayama. Here, you are instructed to take in both Shiva and Shakti at the same time. In the beginning, that's a little bit complicated, but actually not so difficult. Every pranayama starts with you centering yourself. You do not close your eyes and immediately start counting and causing inflow. You start like you usually do with your meditation, by observation until you feel centered. You remind yourself of the technique and then you go to work. Now, while you are centering yourself, nada is there. And when you focus on nada, Shiva energy is flowing in. So when you're at that point, all you need to do is add Shakti to it from the bottom. In the beginning, your attention may shift between both locations, between the top and the bottom, because in the beginning it is a little bit a mental affair. But when you have repeated the exercise a couple of times, it becomes more intuitive and it all fuses into one. It becomes a feeling rather than a thought. So in the beginning you focus on nada, which ensures that Shiva flow is started, and you then add Shakti to it, counting to 20. Ujjayi means winner. It gives a sense of if you have engaged in any kind of competition, whether that's in sports or in games or in anything where there is competition, when you win, you have that sense of inflation. Your chest puffs up, your voice becomes a little bit darker, and you say, "Yeah, I did it." That is the kind of, and that is energy. So that is basically this pranayama leads to that kind of energy being generated. Hence the name of Ujjayi. If you have done Ashtanga yoga at some point, you have learned Ujjayi breath, which is, it's nonsense, really. And throughout the years, we have had students that have learned Ashtanga and then come to our class. It's very disturbing because it makes noise. They squeeze their throat and they exhale like, oh. They call that Ujjayi breath, but totally not in line with the text here. So if you have learned anything like that or are going to learn something like that in the future, just remember that that is not really how Ujjayi works. So you have Shiva and Shakti coming in at the same time. Then you have the retention stage, counting to 80. And then Sutra 52 tells us, perform Kumbhaka as before, the retention stage, and release the energy through Ida. So you let only Shiva out. Shiva out through the bottom. This removes disorders in the throat caused by phlegm and stimulates the fire in the body. Now in the text, in between square brackets, is written digestive. And this is a mistake. The fire in the body is vital energy that so many people are lacking. Is the vital energy that prevents diseases from happening. Many people are naturally in a tamas condition, or at least have a tendency to be in a tamas condition. This exercise adds fire to the body, Agni. That's called Agni in Sanskrit. That is not limited to the digestion, as the text in between square brackets seems to imply. It's what makes the whole body function differently. And also, of course, leads to the opening up of the crown chakra. This particular exercise is the one that people have used, that we teach people who deal with chronic disease. The examples that I gave at the introduction of pranayama, with one person suffering from skin disease since birth for 30 years until doing Ujjayi pranayama, and the other example of a person with very severe spinal rheumatism at a young age. And both finding enormous relief. Not healing, it is a chronic disease. The cause is not taken away. There's something structurally in those people that causes the disease, hence it is chronic. The doctors have no solution for it. But this pranayama gives them so much vital energy that it for a huge part diminishes the symptoms of the disease. To such point, to such extent, in both cases, that their lives basically completely changed. That their lives, after many years or decades of serious suffering, pain, their lives became livable. And both of them could stop using, in case of the rheumatism, very heavy medicine, painkillers, that only oppresses the pain, the symptoms, but has so many side effects that it's not. No, I can't say that it's not worth taking, because the pain is of course terrible, but the side effects are so terrible that it in itself becomes part of the suffering. '53 tells us what this is about. Sutra 53, it puts an end to the diseases of the nadis and the dhatus, as also dropsy. Walking or standing, this kumbhaka called Ujjayi should be practiced. So we do this standing up. You go through the cycle. When you're done, you sit down on your cushion and you continue your concentration on nada sitting like you usually do. But the pranayama itself, the 4 steps, inflow, retention, outflow, retention, is done standing in tadasana. It puts an end to the diseases of the nadis, the nadis and the dhatus. The nadis are the energy channels. People with chronic diseases, they have a blockage in their energy channels caused by either genetic or by structural deficit that leads to a lack of vital energy, leading to the chronic disease. So that is a nadi. Nadi is the energy channels. The dhatus are the 7 building blocks that are represented by the 7 trunks of the elephant in Muladhara Chakra. Plasma, blood, fat tissue, muscle tissue, bone tissue, brain and nerve tissue, and male and female reproductive tissues. So both the nadi and the dhatus are affected in people with chronic diseases. And this is the key. This is why those people find so much relief in Ujjayi Pranayama. Good? Questions? So we do this standing. Shiva and Shakti in at the same time, counting to 20. Kumbhaka counting to 80. And then only Shiva out through the bottom, counting to 40. And a final retention. And when you're done with that, you sit down on your cushion and you continue concentration on nada.